Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Today I'd like to invite you to live like a giraffe. Probably wondering, like our Toastmaster was, why would you want to live like a giraffe? Well, the giraffe is a symbol of both gentleness and strength. And it's also the symbol for the communication model that I teach called compassionate or nonviolent communication. And there are three reasons that I'd like to illustrate today why I'd like you to live like a giraffe, because I think it will help you have a more enriching life, be able to live life more fully, and contribute to others' well-being. And the three things about the giraffe that I'll highlight today, number one is the big heart that a giraffe has. Second is the long neck the giraffe has. And thirdly, the giraffe has an ability to digest thorns. And I'll describe how those apply to us in our communications. First off, the big heart. The giraffe has a heart the size of a basketball, 25 to 35 pounds. It's the biggest heart of any land animal. And that means for me that the giraffe's very able to know what's happening in their heart, what's happening, what they're feeling, and put names to that. And they also are effective at living based on the heart, living based on what their values are. And when you're living based on your values, it's very easy to be present to other people to connect with what they're experiencing. So for us, this translates into, again, an ability to live with a big heart. Really be present to what's happening in you, live your life based on that knowledge, and then connect with others deeply. And a human example of a giraffe is the woman that I'm dating, whose name is Katie. This woman has the biggest heart I've ever seen. You can almost see it. I don't know if it's 28 pounds, probably not, but she has such a big heart. She's always in a place where she's open to others' experience, always very present, and she always works with me in every context to help me meet my needs and hers at the same time. So the first thing I'd like you to consider is to have a big heart. Second, the giraffe has a very long neck, and it's very willing to stick its neck out. In fact, it does it every day. Sticks its neck out to get its needs met, to get food, to look around to see where it wants to go next. And this is vulnerability. For us, vulnerability means sticking your neck out. And if you want to live fully in this world, it's important to develop your capacity to be vulnerable. Develop your capacity to take risks. And when you take risks, when you're vulnerable, that invites others around you to take those risks. Those risks done with each other lead to trust. And when you have trust, there's really an infinite potential to deepen your relationships and to create more out of life with each person you interact with. And I think one example of this is our group. I've seen, since I've been involved, I've seen almost all of you share from your hearts about some vulnerability, something that you might not share with others. I remember Nami talking about some relations he had with family folks that were having trouble, struggling in their marriage. And Dean has given a speech about his daughter and really celebrating some of the challenges that she's worked through. And for me, this has really built a context of trust, and it's really helped build our community. So I encourage you to be like the giraffe in that way too. Stick your neck out. Third, and lastly, the giraffe can digest thorns. Now, I was having oatmeal this morning, and if I had found a thorn in my oatmeal, I would have freaked out. I would have been like those people at Wendy's that find the finger in your taco. I mean, I would have freaked out. I wouldn't have known what to do. I'd be like, oh my gosh. But our giraffe doesn't eat oatmeal, but the akasha mush that the giraffe eats often has thorns in it. And the giraffe doesn't freak out when he or she encounters a thorn. He or she takes it in and lets it go through his system and probably also finds some worth in it, finds some value in it. Now, in the same way in life, we're going to experience a lot of thorns. Whether that's a partner saying something that doesn't resonate with you, or maybe a boss that has some criticism that's hard to hear, or maybe yourself after you do something that you're regretting. Those are all thorns. And we have a choice to see them as thorns, be freaked out, lose our presence, lose our center, or to be like the giraffe and understand that those thorns are really a part of nature, a part of life, that we can take in and allow them to move through our bodies and maybe get some value out of them. An example of this comes from the founder of Compassionate Communications, whose name is Marshall Rosenberg. He has done trainings all around the world talking about what he calls giraffe language or nonviolent communication. And one of his stories is that he went to a refugee camp in Palestine, and he was giving a presentation to a large group of refugees. And as he started, one man stood up and pointed at him and said, "You murderer!" Now that's a pretty big thorn. If you're not a giraffe, the things that might happen when you hear that might be very violent. But Marshall is a big giraffe, since he teaches this stuff and he created it. He was able to hear the beauty behind that. And knowing that when he walked into the camp, he had seen a bunch of tear gas canisters from something that happened there the night before that said "Made in America" on them. So he tried to connect with this man and said, "Yeah, I'm guessing you're really angry, you're really frustrated because you'd like my country to provide support in different ways." And this began a dialogue with this man that ended in him being invited to a Ramadan dinner by this man, and a connection that was made stronger over time. So, I've shared with you these 3 points. Again, they're the big heart, live with the big heart. 2, stick your neck out, be vulnerable, and you can practice every time you speak in this group if you want. And then 3, realize that there are thorns in the world, and that you have the capacity to digest those to make something good out of them. So I invite you to live like a giraffe, and I hope that you make the most out of whatever jungle you find yourself in. Mr. Toastmaster.